Okay, folks, welcome to Best Stock Charts for the coming week. What we're going to do this morning, I'm recording this on Sunday morning, the 18th. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, and the headline off of Zero Hedge is Bitcoin crashes as much as 15% amid unsubstantiated, that's the operative word there, report of money laundering crackdown. This is through Treasury. So, is this a planted story to knock down crypto? Who knows? You got to keep an open mind. But the reality is that crypto is down. We've bounced back off of this 15% level. But we're going to talk about the charts. And what most importantly, what I want to talk about this morning is the correlation, if any, the correlation between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. Is there a correlation? We're going to answer that question because now we need to think, okay, if you have Bitcoin down this much, at current it's down about 8%. Off of the 15% level. If it's down that much, can it influence the S&P 500? I'm going to show you the charts in a moment. We're then going to talk about I think I have 4, maybe 5 stocks we're going to be watching going into the new trading week. But first, what I want to talk to you about is our sponsor. Our sponsor is our friends over at TrendSpider. Don't settle for ordinary trading software. I use 3 different trading softwares, but my primary software for scanning for new stocks and for setting up my alerts is by far TrendSpider. It allows me to automate my grunt work, speed up my technical analysis while improving my accuracy. Folks, I do live streams where I go over 10, at times 15 symbols within a half hour with accurate forecast of where I believe a stock is going. I can only do that with TrendSpider using their automated technical analysis. So reduce costly analytical mistakes, find winning chart setups with their scanners, and time your trades with precision with their alerts. You're going to see how I do that in a moment. So TrendSpider, use the link below, 35% discount code. That's the cheapest price on the web. Check out their 7-day free trial offer. They have a demo tour, and they have TrendSpider University. I give it away free to my silver and gold level members, and you get a 14-day free trial. So take advantage. Join the Contrarian Trader, our community, our alerts. And if you already have TrendSpider, I have a special offer down below. If you want gold level, which is where you get engagement, you get stock chart requests with me, simply use the offer below, which is our Gold Light membership. So we have a membership level for all people. Whatever your experience level is, join us. Okay, let's get to it. So the question that we need to answer today is there a correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500? The answer is yeah, a very tight one. It wasn't always the case, but now when you take a look at Bitcoin and you can see the price action, at current we're down 8.21% and we're continuing to slip here. Now 8.28%. So we are now trading down below the 21-day exponential moving average. Might we bounce back? Sure, it's extremely volatile. But overlaid here in gray is the correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500. On a daily time frame, they're trading roughly in tandem 79% of the time. That's a pretty tight correlation. And you can see I have also overlaid here in gray the S&P 500 versus Bitcoin. And you can see how in recent days in gray, how the S&P 500 has begun to outperform Bitcoin. And when you take a look at Bitcoin on a weekly time frame, you can see that the correlation from a daily, where we had a 79% correlation, jumps up to an 85% correlation between the S&P 500, again in gray, and Bitcoin in Candlestick. And yet again, we're seeing that the S&P 500 has begun to outperform Bitcoin over the past 2 trading weeks. So I would strongly suggest that you join us tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live on YouTube. We're going to revisit these charts. We're going to see if Bitcoin has rallied back. We're going to take a look at the opening futures action. If Bitcoin has not rallied back, is the S&P 500 rolling over? Or is it holding up? Is there no correlation? So again, join us tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Use the link below. Get alerted 15 minutes to a half hour prior to us going live, or click the bell button. You'll get notified when we are live. Maybe. You're better off getting the email alert 15 minutes to a half hour prior to us going live. So we hate spam too. You'll not be spammed. And before we leave off here, let's go back to the daily chart really quick. And we are down 8.27%. So no real bounce yet. As the day evolves right now, at current, it is, what time is it? 9:43 Eastern Standard Time in the morning. So more to come here on Bitcoin and the opening futures action tonight on Sunday Night Futures Live. Let's go to our best stock charts for the coming week. Let's do it. Okay, so the symbols we're going to go over today are COHU, THOR, LNG, EWJ. That's the Japanese ETF, looking really, really good. And we're also going to take a look at Freeport McMoran because I believe that we have entered a new commodity bull run. Gold broke out last week. The gold miners broke out last week, all looking very, very good. We are long of the gold miners, long of the silver miners, long of silver, and we're looking for a producer. What better than Freeport McMoran? Because it's materials, basic materials that are rallying as well. So if you want a conglomerate, look at Freeport McMoran. You could also look at the BRZU, which is a leveraged ETF, putting you long of Brazil that exposes you to energy as well as basic materials, metals. So FCX. Now, what I want to point out here on FCX is that we have put in a new monthly high for the month of April. This is a monthly chart. We'll drill down to a weekly chart, then a daily chart for multi-time frame analysis. That gives us a view of where the stock has been to identify where it might be going on a shorter term time frame. We may be contrarians, but we believe in the trend being your friend until it gets unsustainable. So new monthly high, very nice. But here's where the automated technical analysis comes in. Take a look at what happened back here. This is an automated trend line. With the click of a button, we broke out. In the month of February, pulled back. The month of March, did a retest, very healthy price action. Now what we're seeing is a continuation breakout. Now, what I did identify the other day when I spoke about this chart last was that we're probably going to see a bit of resistance above. This is my manually drawn library of trend lines. So beware. What was resistance back here, we must assume will be resistance yet again. So would I go buying right here, right now? Maybe. Let's drill down. Let's see if we have a setup. Because a monthly time frame, we're only midway through the month. Now, the weekly chart is saying don't do it. Why? We're right at resistance. But that doesn't mean we can't break out. And that's why I have an alert set here. You can see it set right here. In fact, I have two alerts set up. One on a daily, one on a weekly time frame. And we're looking for a breakout. I really like this move up higher here. But we may continue to trade within this ascending wedge formation before we ultimately resolve the consolidation, probably to the upside, given that we know that there's inflation out there. Daily chart. Now the daily chart, again, we're flirting with that weekly resistance level, monthly resistance level, daily resistance level. So what do we do right here, right now? Nothing. We wait. We wait for our alert to do the work for us. If we break out, it's a rules-based approach. If we break out and we appear poised to close above resistance, ideally on volume, then we act. We buy. But I will point out this. It's a bit of a concern. Volume is dropping off sequentially. Friday, very light volume. So we have an alert set down here just in case we get a pullback. And I'm keeping, you see these purple lines outside of this red line, which is actually the support level. That's the sensitivity zone. And it doesn't have to be exactly where support was. Once we get into that neighborhood of where support is, then we could look to act and open up a position. What I really like is where this volume-weighted moving average is right here. Volume by price at 75.72. If we hit that support level, in fact, I'm going to create an alert here. I'm not going to keep much sensitivity on this. And we'll keep this active for a couple of weeks. Now, we did close out the day strong on Friday, as noted by the raindrop chart. Left side of your raindrop. This is a mixture of candlestick charting and volume-weighted moving average, VWAP. So the left side of the raindrop is the morning price action. The right side is the afternoon price action. The right side to me is very important because that's where we see how we closed on the day. Did we see buying into the close? Did we see selling into the close? And that gives us an indication of where we might be going the next trading day, because that's generally where institutions act. So we closed strong with a big fat pregnant belly, as I like to call it, on a green day. Looks good. Maybe we'll break out. If not, no big deal. We'll wait for our support levels to get tested. Until one of these alerts fire off, or both, or three, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to watch. We'll let the alerts do the work for us. And that removes impulse buying and selling. The next chart up, Kohu. Now, Kohu hit an all-time high back here. This is a weekly chart. The week of February the 8th. And what we did was that we broke out the week before last. Last week was a consolidation week. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be looking for a retest of the breakout point. So I'm going to create an alert at the breakout point. I care if it touches or bounces. And this will provide us an opportunity to open a position. Not go all in, just open a position at a good risk-reward entry point. And we'll keep this active for a couple of weeks. Now, what I want to check next are the automated trend lines. Click of a button. And you can see that we have resistance right up here at 55.79. This is rising a bit, so that number is subject to change to the upside. So it's good to see that we have a good distance from where we would want to get involved with the shares and where we have resistance. So our risk, if we buy at around let's say $43 per share, round it up. We have a good risk reward because we could put a stop loss right below the support level and watch it rally up to over $55 per share if we're accurate in our call. Now, if you're a momentum trader, another way to play this is to buy it on a breakout to above the week of April the 5th's high. But ideally, you get a close, at least on a daily time frame, no sensitivity, above that resistance level. Now, you're taking on a bit more risk here for less reward, but it's certainly another option. It may not be the one I would want to execute on, though. I really like less risk, more reward. But obviously, we're not trading as much. So our alert is set. We're good to go. So we have one alert set for a pullback and a retest, another one for a breakout point. Daily chart. It's very nice. We broke out on Friday. Let me retract that. We attempted to break out on Friday. We did not. Good raindrop chart into the close. And by the way, they just added on here. Raindrop charts are only limited to daily and intraday charts. You can now have them on a weekly chart and on a monthly chart as well. Monthly time frame looks really good, but we still have several days left to go in the month. Weekly, not so good. You saw some selling on the back half of the week. Very light volume on Friday. So we're going to stick with the alerts that we have set up here. Kohu, bullish, longer term, but we need to display discipline and wait for the shares to come to us, and then we'll put some money to work. Next chart up, Thor Industries, and I believe I may have said the symbol is THOR earlier. My bad, THO, my apologies. Let's go to a monthly chart. That gives me a feel for where we've been. I take the automated trend lines off first to get a feel, and we're obviously putting in higher lows here, higher highs, very healthy chart. Industrials have been strong. And on the month, we've broken out on a monthly time frame. What I just did here, folks, automated trend lines. And we have broken out on the month. Very, very nice. Do we close here? We're not sure yet. Way too early in the month, but it's looking very promising. So we'll do a deeper dive into a weekly time frame in a moment. But first, I want to go to the seasonality chart. This is a company that's been around for a long time. So we want to take a look at seasonality. I'm going to use a monthly time frame. And over the past 10 years, the month of April has been up 64% of the time. May, it drops off along with June to 50%, but then we pick up in July. The real sweet trade here is to buy in December because it's a horrible month. Buys at the trough of December as best you can. And, obviously you just look for support levels and declining down volume. And then you enter the trade there. And then in the month of January, you traditionally have a 70% rise in the shares. So that's a seasonality trade that I'm going to document for future reference. But for now anyway, we're going to talk about current time frame, April, up 64% of the time over the past 10 trading years. And the next couple of months, May, June, 50% of the times. So we're going to go with the market strength to help guide us. And the market seems to be very strong. Weekly chart. So what happens when you're in the middle of a trading range and you want to get involved, but you don't have a automated trend line to help you out? You have a couple of options here. You can check your crayon out, and there you have a rising lower band of support. What did we do last week? We bounced off of that lower band of support. Very, very bullish. But keep in mind that the algorithm is picking off that you have resistance levels above. So we closed at 140.20. We're going to have resistance at around 148.56. So just keep in mind that your risk reward is okay, but it's not great. Another way we can handle this is set an alert at the rising 21 period on a weekly time frame moving average and wait for that to fire off. Let's make that long. It could take quite a while for this to happen. But if by chance we get a market sell-off, these lines are still rising, and perhaps we could touch the lower band of support, and that'll be our opportunity to enter long with a tight stop right below. Now, if we break out and above weekly resistance, I don't want any sensitivity. All we care about is where we close, and that should be above before we execute a trade. If you turn sensitivity to 0 like I have here and it still shows, all you need to do, go like this and go back again. It eliminates it. Long entry or add on the breakout. What does that mean? Well, if I buy on a retest of support either here or down here where we have our alert set, well, I'm only going to open up with a small position, then add more as we break out above this resistance level, because that's the discipline. We don't want to go all in one shot. But God forbid the market rolls over and we're wrong on the trade. We want to be wrong small. And then we know if we break out above this resistance level, our next resistance level, which is rising, is all the way up here, which is at around 168 per share and rising. Very, very good setup here, longer term. So the trick is entering safely, because we do have this bit of an obstacle here, which is our weekly resistance at around 148.50 per share. Daily chart, very, very tight consolidation here, looking very good. So THO, bullish. The next chart, LNG, monthly chart first, because I need to play catch up as to where we've been with this stock. It's recovered from its pre-pandemic levels. We have broken out above monthly resistance. We did so last month. This month we're doing a retest of support. Very, very bullish. Weekly chart, very nice. So what I like to do at times is do my manual trend lines and then use TrendSpider to help validate the accuracy of my trend lines, or pick up resistance levels that I just don't want to go back and have to draw myself. So let's do it. So I'm going to click on the automated trend lines, and there you have it. We have resistance up at $77.22. We closed at $73.97. And we have another rising resistance level up here at 83.31. I think that this is a buy, to be honest with you. I'll check out the daily chart first, because that's really going to sway us. But it's great that we saw a breakout above resistance, but we did put in a bit of a topping tail on this candlestick. You can call it a wick, shadow, call it cupcakes, doesn't matter. What matters is that there was a bit of selling last week. Let's go to the daily chart. Yeah. So what we did here is we broke out on the 15th, then failed to hold it on the 16th. That's pretty bearish. So a play here would be to do this. I could either set an alert to fire off on a pullback and a retest of this breakout point in red, or I could set my alert at the 21 period exponential moving average. Keep a little bit of sensitivity on it. It's not an exact science. And that'll incorporate the touching of the support level, the breakout point in red as well. But this is going to be a rising alert for us. And we'll keep this active for a couple of weeks, and we're good to go. So there's our rising alert. If we pull back and tap this, it fires off. Then it becomes eligible for us to get involved as a trade. But I do not like the fact that we broke out on the 15th, then failed on the 16th to hold that breakout point. That's concerning. Now, what you've seen of late, and I've seen this on multiple stocks, is that you've had these breakout point failures, right? Meaning you broke out, then you drop back down into the trading range, only to see them pop back up the next day. It's just the type of market that we're in. Where normally, historically, you don't get that. Normally, it's a bearish event, but we live in different times nowadays, so we need to adapt. So I wouldn't buy it on the hope that it breaks back above this resistance level, but I will set an alert to let me know if it does. And if we do happen to close above it, that kind of negates Friday's price action. And there you have it. So our alerts are set. Here's our sidebar. All the alerts that we've set so far are all right here to refer back to. The next chart up, EWJ. This is a daily chart. Looks really good. We're going to come back to this. Let's go to a weekly chart first. And here's the value of the raindrop charts now on a weekly time frame, which is great. It gives you an indication when you get these blue raindrop charts that pop up. It gives you an indication that you may see a trend reversal. So we were moving up higher. The week of February the 15th was a down week, but then we flashed a blue raindrop. And it's pretty reliable. So while if you didn't have this, and this is proprietary to TrendSpider, if you didn't have this, you might have said, you know what, we close off the lows of the week. It still looks pretty good. But if you had this, you might have said, you know what, this looks okay. We did rally back off the lows of the week. That's good. The trend is probably still sound. That's okay. But if you're scalping, you might have wanted to say, you know what, blue raindrop, I'm going to take some money off the table here. I'm going to remain long, but I'm going to reduce my position. Let's see if we get a pullback, which we did, and you could have bought at a lower price point, and now you'd be seeing a profit on that trade because you waited for it to hit these rising lower bands of support. Now when you take a look at EWJ and you use your automated trend lines, you could see that you have a lot of room to the upside here. And where you found resistance, oddly enough, the same spot where you flashed your blue raindrop was a resistance point back here. So what you would have known had you had your automated trend lines up and the blue raindrop, you would have said, you know what, time to cut bait here and maybe reduce my risk. And sure enough, it would have paid off. Now, I think we're setting up for a nice resumption of the uptrend because what we did last week is we broke out. EWJ, to me, is pretty close to being a buy. Daily chart. And I do send out alerts to all members when we do execute a trade, no matter what membership level you're at. So daily chart looks very good. If you take off the automated trend lines, you can see that we're pretty accurate with our manually drawn ones because when you add the trend lines, the automated, they're in the same neighborhood. They're just calculated a little bit differently. What I would really like to see here is a breakout above 70.11 per share. Where do we close? 69.96. Stone's throw away. So EWJ, we're bullish on a daily breakout. Now I typed in or add because what I also want to do is just in case we get a retest of support, keep a little bit of sensitivity on, not too much. I want to buy the pullback. Small position, we'll test the market, and if we break out on a daily time frame. We could always add more. We want to leg into the trade. Always leg into your trades. And our alert is set. And with that, folks, let's circle back really quick and take a look at Bitcoin. Not much change from when we first checked the price action earlier, which is still down about 8%. So again, tonight we're going to meet 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to check out Bitcoin. We're going to check out the opening price action of the futures. Are they reacting to the sell-off in Bitcoin? We'll see. So join us, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go over all the futures action. We will discuss Bitcoin, and we will also take chart requests. We'll first go to our members. Then we'll take requests from the audience if time allows. We'll go live at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We usually stay on until about 7 o'clock, and it's a great time. Hope to see you there. Enjoy the remainder of your Sunday. Talk to you soon. Be well.